All right, then. You guys are live right now on hot7025fm.com. It's your girl, fine ass E.Carrice, and I'm here with my co host, Sir.
Sir, the one and only.
He's the one, the
The
only.
only.
Okay, with the shingles on, child. I see you. Last week it was the pearls. This week it's the shingles. We are
It's the
here
shingles.
for
Gotta
it
do something different
today.
every week.
Shout out to everyone who's listening live. If you're on Facebook, if you are on YouTube, we are live on Twitter today. Okay.
Hey,
And
in the
also,
Twitter sphere.
if you're listening to the replay of this live video on any of our podcast platforms, thank you. Share and tell your friends about us because, man, oh man, the show today is Why You So Gay. Okay, we got a special guest. Billy the Ho is in the building with us today.
Not
So
Billy the
listen,
Hoe.
I'm
Is that
definitely
his legal
excited
name?
about this.
Is Billy the Hoe?
His
Is that what his
government,
mama named him?
his government is on Billy the Ho, child. Okay.
Yay.
So
Okay.
we will be adding Billy to this content here in just a second. But we're gonna get into a little bit of shady ass tea, sir. As we do each and every Tuesday, we deliver the shady ass tea, sir. What's the
Okay.
tea?
So first and foremost, I need to. I want to get into the Megan Thee Stallion situation with Tory Lanez, but before we do that, before I get there, I want to talk about Sierra Wilson, Russell Wilson, and this character. What is this man's name? He has a stupid name, Channing Crowder. I thought I had to read the man's name like 4 or 5
You didn't
times.
like the Crowder part?
I no, I thought I kept wanting to say Chowder. I kept wanting to. I thought it was the name of a show. I thought Channing Crowder was the name of the podcast, but that's his name, and he's doing the talking on somebody. Anyway, and
Gotcha.
so I'm gonna show you a video of what he said, and then we'll chat because I want to make sure that I'm giving context to this right before without me saying anything before it. So let me know. Can y'all see it? Can you see it? You are muted, so I'm gonna assume you can see it. I'm gonna assume you can see what's happening. I'm gonna mute myself and hit play. Let y'all hear what's going on.
Russell and Sierra. Yeah, if Russell ain't had that bread, Sierra ain't gonna be with him. Russell Square. Russell Square. Russell Square. Sierra she has a good situation, but you gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson.
The thing is, I think that's where
you
you're
don't
wrong.
leave Future and get Russell Wilson.
Women
Like, it's a type. Listen,
Women
bro,
want
everybody got a
peace.
type.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody has a type. You gonna leave Future and get with Russell Wilson? He's so goddamn square, and I love him on the field. He's a square.
Channing,
He's a fucking square.
Channing, you go from this level of toxicity, you just want something stable. You want the guy that was sitting with that girl with that big old mouth at the draft that was laughing, and you knew she didn't deserve to be with him.
Goofball?
Yeah, you want that guy.
You want to get with Goofball's husband.
You want the guy that told me, you know what? I was praying, and God told me to go save her. That's what the man told me to my face. But even with all...
Okay, so that's that. He said what he said, right? Called him a square, called him a goofball, said the only reason Sierra's with this man is because of the money he makes. Now, he did make reported about $140 million in his new contract for 2022. He'll be making $19 million base and $22 million in 2023. So he does make good money, right? I don't think the only reason she's with Russell Wilson is because he's a cornball or a square. And honestly, I don't think Russell Wilson is a square or a cornball. I think personally that the way Future lives his life is corny. Like, this man is almost 40. He ain't got no wife. He got a bunch of fucking baby mamas and a bunch of kids all over the fucking place. And that's like, that's not tea. Like, that you're an adult. Like, you're not a 22-year-old boy. Is that cool? And like, being with one woman and taking care of your children is square. Like, that's crazy. That's madness to me.
Yeah, I think that he's hella reckless, and then too, I think that he's pretty disrespectful in the way that he handles his business with his families.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I don't think Russell is a cornball, and I think he's actually rather handsome. He's pretty freaking handsome.
Well, handsome doesn't mean that you're like cool.
It does. It does. That gives you an extra, because if you're like, he's like sexy. I'll give him sexy, because handsome could be corny. right?
Right.
So I feel like he's sexy. I mean,
hmm
I think he got it.
So okay, so you don't think that the idea that because he's committed to one woman and he takes care of his children? Because I think that what I'm understanding the man say is because Russell Wilson loved God, because he's like, I love my one wife. You know what I'm saying? I love this other man's kids. I'm going to take care of this family the way he takes care of his family. A lot of people, a lot of men view that as super fucking corny. Like because he could be fucking all the women on the planet because he's Russell Wilson.
You know who I think is corny? The guy who
Who's
said
that?
that. Okay, the
Mr.
guy who
Mr.
said that
Crowder?
is mad because he couldn't pull a Sierra. Okay,
Hmm.
like let's really get into it because the reality is that they actually look like they work well together. You
Right.
know,
Right.
and
I agree.
if he's a real grown man and he's
Right.
going to provide for his family and for a child, it's not even his as though it is his own child.
Right.
I'm definitely here for it.
Right.
And he happens to be rich as well and sexy, and he might have some good thing. You don't think that's you don't you're not gonna give
I
him
don't
a
have any
good thing?
comment on that.
Damn
I don't
it.
know. But I
Damn it,
think
sir. You at least gotta give him the good thing.
I'm giving him good guy. I don't think I think it's really whack the idea that to be a man or to be cool you have to be doggish to the woman you with.
Agreed.
I feel like that is fucking whack. And like this man is a professional. He's top of his game, top of his field. And to have another person in the same field as you and another black man be like, oh, you so whack because you good to your woman. Like that shit is fucking. That's the wrong message. And then the men that sit in the room with him don't agree. They're not really agreeing with what he's saying, but they're not saying like, hey, nigga, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you guys. Hey, brother. But I mean, they're not saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be like dogging homie. Like maybe he's a good guy. I mean, the guy mentions,
Because they're cornball followers as well.
yeah, because I mean, when the guy was like, she goes from this level of toxicity, which is apparently obviously toxic, right? Being all them baby mamas. What many baby mamas he got? 7.
I
Yeah,
thought it was like 9.
49 kids, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So to go from that to somebody who's just committed to you because she wasn't, and she not even really like any of the other baby mamas. I don't even think she got him on child support. I think Russell asked her to take Future off child support because he can take care of the child himself.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's some grown man stuff. That's not
right,
cornball stuff. That's like, yo, you can't even take care of your kid. It's cool. I got it.
it's cool. I got it.
So
And
I'm
so you can't be mad like, oh, and then I think it's the Future riding for me. Well, how would you leave Future to go to Russell Wilson? Do you want to date Future? Are you
yeah.
are you interested?
He wants to date Future. That's why
Right.
He's that mad.
Right. It was giving very much. You wish you was Sierra, and you wish you was dating Future because you feel like Future is the best thing that ever happened to you. Mm-hmm. Right. And that she couldn't be that. Russell is like a downgrade from Future, which is absolute madness.
Yeah, they're just cornballs, and they're just mad that that man has more money and more class than them, and it just is what it is. So I'm gonna give them all the cornball award, and that was some trash. So we can go on to the next.
Right. So Coleon Collins says Russell is not portraying the image most black men display.
Boo.
What is most black men? What does that mean? So like most black men feel that they should be toxic? Is that the image that most black men display? Like hyper masculine?
The thing is that I don't know those. I don't know many of those black men.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, I think that there's a popular idea that there's a particular way to be a man, mm-hmm. and there's an acceptable way for it to be a man, and I'll be honest, a lot of those ideas are an acceptable way to be a man for another man to see, right? Like this is because when you're a good man to your woman, other men are not going to be interested in how you look, right? And so a man that's concerned about being a good man to his woman is not interested, right? Many baby mamas, that's what I figured he meant, is that people are hyper masculine, too many baby mamas, don't want to settle down nowhere. But a man is committed.
How many people do you know as a black man who has a whole bunch of baby
Personally,
mamas that has a lot of baby mamas?
none of the men I know have a lot of baby mamas. None of the men,
So
none of the men that are my friends have multiple baby mamas. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know any men in the call my friend have multiple. They have a baby mama, but they don't have multiple baby mamas. They had one or two babies with this one woman that didn't work out, and now they're living their life, but they don't have any other children.
interesting.
But like I said, I think that it's important that we understand that a man that's being hyper masculine that has all the baby mamas and to prove his manliness is proving his manliness to other men. He's not proving his manliness to a woman. You know what I'm saying? So your woman ain't like, what I would really like you to do is go have more babies. Your woman's not saying that. So I don't know. I'm gonna leave it where it is. I'm gonna move on to some other toxicity. Tory Lanez was arrested today in court for violating his contact and protective order against Meg Thee Stallion. So the tweets he was tweeting at her regarding the case were shown to the judge and used as evidence that he was violating that order. In addition, his lawyer came out and stated that there was a witness that saw two women and a man fighting, and that the woman was the one that was closest to the gun blast. And so people are speculating that Kelsey shot her, and that Tory didn't actually shoot her.
I think that's what he was trying to insinuate in the first place.
That Kelsey is the one who shot her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was trying to insinuate that Kelsey is the one who actually shot her and not him. Mm-hmm. I'm just calling cap on the. Like, there's a couple of things here, right? Okay. I think that him as a man, like, I feel like he could have just said he did it.
Said he shot her, even if he didn't?
Yeah. No, I just feel like
he should say he shot her, even if he didn't shoot her.
Do you think Kelsey shot her?
I don't know. I don't know who shot her.
Because let's think about it. If Megan was in a situation, if she's in a situation where she was already upset with Kelsey for sleeping with her dude, mm-hmm. and then she's in a position where she got shot by somebody, mm-hmm. okay, why wouldn't she say Kelsey did it? She wasn't going to be friends with her anymore anyway.
So you're saying that if Kelsey actually was the person that shot her, then she would have just said, hey, that bitch shot me. Right? You know what I'm saying? I hate her. She shot me. And so you're saying that is you think that that's evidence that Tory shot her.
It sounds like the defense that Tory is gonna try to present, mm-hmm. that Megan was so drunk and so high that mm-hmm. she doesn't even know who shot her. So that's gonna wipe the case for both of them. But
I don't think anybody shot her. Guys, can I just? I don't think anybody shot her. What I think, I'm gonna tell you what I think. I'm gonna tell you what I actually think happened. Okay, yeah. Controversial opinion. I think she was on his ass because he's a tiny man and she's a big lady. Okay, and she was on. And Houston ladies like to put their hands on people, and she was on that ass, and he might have pulled the gun out and pulled the trigger. I don't think he shot her. I think it may have ricocheted and hit her.
Her feet were clearly bleeding.
Yeah, I think it ricocheted and hit her foot, but I don't think he meant and intended to shoot her.
Well, he shot the
So I think what he's saying is she's telling the story like he pulled the gun out and meant to shoot her. I think he may have pulled the gun out to like pull the trigger and like get her off of him.
I don't think that's
different. It's a possibility.
Gun out.
You say what?
He could have just pulled the gun out.
Maybe it went off because she was still whooping that ass. You ever seen Harlem Nights? Have you ever seen Harlem Nights? It's a legitimate question.
Times.
Okay. So do you remember when Eddie Murphy was getting his ass whipped in that alley?
Yeah, and he pulled out the gun. But why would she wasn't okay, according to the security guy, mm-hmm. he was saying that he shot her. And there was a gun in the back seat, and they mm-hmm. were, somebody was scuffling with the gun.
It's a gun in your back seat. Doesn't mean you shot somebody.
It's actually not in the back
That's all I'm saying. Lots of people have guns.
Yeah. Well, we'll close the case on that.
So I think that it's important that we address. I was talking to my sister about this earlier. There's this idea that men and people should have input on like women's bodies and what they do and how they handle their bodies. Lotto, the rapper, has been being fat shamed online. This girl is like 21 years old. Is being fat shamed online, and she need to get she need to get liposuction. She got cellulite. Her body is all out of control, and so she's saying now that she's going to get off birth control because of the fat shame comments. I think that is a really, really important thing that we not look at women's bodies and look at women and say this is how you should look, right? Because there are women look all different kinds of ways. There are tall women, skinny women, all of that, right? Very Dr. Seuss of the women. This one, that one, your one, my one, right? And I think that when we look at women online and start telling them how they should look, it's a really, really damaging thing. Like some women don't give a fuck, right? Some women like, I don't care, I'm gonna put this big old dented booty in the camera. This is what it's gonna be. But some women really, really take that personally. And I don't agree with the idea that we should be commenting on women's bodies in that way.
Got it. Can you hear me okay, sir?
Yes, I 100% can hear you. You are coming in clear, and they can hear you in the back.
All right, perfect. Well, is that all the tea for us today?
That's what I got right now. Yes, ma'am.
Well, listen, we gotta, listen. Did you check out For a Fee?
I did. I watched season 2, episode 1 of For a Fee. I watched the recap, and I was kind of gagged on the recap. I was like, I need to go back and watch season 1.
Those of you who haven't seen For a Fee, real quick, I'm gonna give y'all a sneak peek, just so y'all can see.
Time.
Just relax. You gotta do nothing.
Okay, look, we have to find him, okay?
Anything in excess becomes a liability.
I should be acknowledged and treated fairly.
Man, I got some info back on Quan the other day.
Play them cards right, we're gonna get you home safe, you understand?
Nothing in life is free. Everything is for a fee.
So
I watched it and I was like, oh, child. First of all, it was pretty dope to see, some people from Vegas on that as well,
Right. Some local spots.
Right. Joe Mackey.
Right. I was like, I know that guy. I've been in that gas station several times. I've been in that corner store buying single cigarettes back in the day. It's dope. It's following Roscoe, who is, I don't know if he sell drugs, if he just be killing people on the weekends. I'm trying to. You say what?
I said not killing people though.
He killing people. He killing boyfriends. He killing girlfriends. He killing your mama, my mama. If you're in his way, you will get shot. You may get put in the trunk. You may be carried out. Okay, he is not interested in anybody doing anything that's gonna put him in jail, and so he's gonna take care of that. And it's kind of following him and like the chaos he's causing in the city. And it's interesting because I think growing up in Las Vegas, I knew people like Roscoe. You know what I'm saying? I knew people like the people that Roscoe knows, and they are very that. And so it's a good show. Y'all should check it out. It's on Tubi. All 8 episodes are there, so you can sit down and binge watch. But I absolutely check out For a Fee on Tubi. And you are on mute.
I didn't know what Tubi was.
I love Tubi. Oh my
god! I was yesterday years old when I learned what Tubi was. So I logged into Tubi. It's free.
Yes, it's free.
It's free, and then it has some pretty good movies on there. I was like, okay, Tubi. I logged in there. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember Arabesque films from like old BET times.
Yes.
Where the volume wasn't really that great. That's what Tubi can go give you, child. Okay.
I love Tubi, and that's come on, Dr. Hatcher. I fucking love Tubi for that very reason. It's giving me nostalgia. It's giving me blackness. I like the show also because it has local rap artists like as the soundtrack, which is really dope. So
Right.
check it out on Tubi. All 8 episodes are there.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk about next week's episode because I'm going to watch that one
Yes,
too. I was like, I want to binge watch it, but then again, I kind of want to wait it out a little bit. So I'm
I binge
excited. So
watch
shout out
it,
to
but
Four
I'm gonna go back and rewatch it. Is that you can definitely watch it more than once.
for sure, for sure. And then too, you may miss something. So
Right,
or you miss someone that you might know, especially if you're from Vegas as well. So
right. Very that
definitely tune into that for a fee on Tubi or is on Amazon
on
Prime as
Amazon
well,
Prime.
for sure. All right, sir. I think it's about that time.
I'm excited. We have a guest.
We
The doors of the church are open. Come on, Andrews. Come on. You remember the Andrews Club?
Wait, not the Andrews Club.
Hey, look, you gotta be a member of the Andrews Club. Did you bring a visit? Did you bring a guest with you? You had a visitor with you? Please stand.
Oh my goodness! Listen, we got we got Bernie, aka Billy the Hoe, in the building.
Okay, now.
The hoe, Hoe.
Evening.
Is there an E on hoe or is it Ho?
It's a lot of hoes, a lot of O's.
A
A lot of
Oh,
Come on.
like
Oh.
The hoe. Well, now.
Ending. No E's, never ending.
Well, welcome in.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, listen, I appreciate you coming through, but we've been talking about getting you back here. You were on Risky Radio with E.Carrice years ago.
Don't say that.
And it was so you know what though? It's good that it was your
It's just a shade for me.
It wasn't even shade. It was like I have had this show for so long. Like it's all love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm very that.
Yeah.
Amazing though. It is amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing things happened after that show.
It sure. You know what? We gonna find out what that was. That's the thing. We gonna have to find out what exactly the amazing part was for sure. Listen. We going by Billy the Hoe? What we going by? Billy?
Just don't call me late for dinner.
Okay, because you are not gonna be late for dinner.
Well, sometimes depends on who's cooking and what they have.
Ooh, chill.
Who made the potato salad?
Well, listen, I have known Billy for many years, child, and sir, you have as well.
I have.
And we go way back to the good old church choir days and all of that good stuff.
The blind days.
Goodness gracious. But I wanted to have a series to kind of bring back some conversations about coming out, being LGBTQ, or whatever it is that you may essentially identify as when it comes to being in touch with who you are, your sexuality, and then too, like how that impacts your regular life, and how it has possibly impacted your life, in the past. So I wanted to get into that. So tell me about your journey as coming into yourself. What age did that look like? Like, what did that look like for you at all?
You know what? After that question, okay, it was. I didn't know who I was, number one. I didn't know what to call it, number two. And that was like, in my early 20s, I want to say. I came out. I was forced out of the closet by a family member. Let's just say that.
Ooh, wait, tell me how that happened.
Well, I was hanging with some families and family members and things like that, and I was always acting wild, as you may know. My wildness carried over into the youth choir.
What does wild mean?
Just dressing wild.
What is wild? What does that mean?
Wearing makeup.
Okay.
Just not being really sexual at that point. It was just like a lot of flirting and stuff like that. So well, I'm gonna let the cat out the bag. It was said to my parents that they would not accept me if I came out, and they did not know really what was, because that was like in the 80s, 90s, or whatever. And I remember my mom specifically saying, "What did I do wrong?" And
What did she do wrong with you?
Yes. It's like, what did I do wrong? Like, so I had to really
to make you gay.
Yeah, and I was like,
Interesting.
we never knew what to call it back in that day. We didn't stop acting like that. What is acting like? How am I acting?
But do you think that was because they didn't want to act like they knew what it was, but didn't want to say what it was out loud?
They didn't want to embrace it, just like a lot of the church, the religious, they don't want to embrace it. They talk about it.
Do you think they thought if they denied it long enough, it would just go away?
It'll never go away. That's why.
No, I'm just saying. Do you think that that's how your parents felt? Like, if we just don't talk about it, like we don't talk about Bruno. You know what I'm saying? Like we just, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't talk about that. He just different.
Yeah, but I was always different. I was always the one that was different in the family. I always stayed in church. I was brought up in church and stuff like that, and I believe my whole faith was based upon God, and that's where I got it. That's who I am.
Your spiritual self.
Yeah.
Right.
So after that, it just was like, okay, Billy's just Billy. I heard that a lot. What is that? Billy's just Billy. But it wasn't until like I started hanging out with some friends, and I think I was in my 20s, like 22, 23, and I realized that I was, same gender loving or gay, homosexual. And so.
And how did you get to that point where you realized that?
Yeah, what point was that?
Yeah, because you said, so you were saying earlier someone kind of outed you, and then so they outed your mom.
So I'm sorry, I'm jumping, I'm stepping all over you, and I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yes, you sure.
Go ahead.
I know you want some. You want it all.
No, I am so sorry because you said they outed you. They just came and told your mama something about you, and she just was like, okay, that's tea. That's gospel. Like, how did that?
They said that Billy is afraid to come out to y'all because.
That's right. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm following. I'm sorry.
But I felt accepted. I just felt like me all, for the longest. I just felt like me. But then when I started putting a name to it and stuff like that, I was like, I ain't have no coming out party or stuff, nothing like that. But my girlfriends, when we was in high school, my friend, she always say, Burmy, don't you have an announcement to make?
She was ready for you to tell everybody. She was like, look here, Burmy, just go ahead and get it out. I know that's right.
Before I was 18, she's like, Burmy, and she'll say it in front of everybody. And we only heard the inside joke of it. It was like, do you have an announcement to make? I'm like, girl, please. But it wasn't. I made that announcement to my parents after my family member told them. And then I was like, this is who I am. No, Mom, you didn't do anything wrong. You raised me to be who I am today. Responsible, caring, compassionate. So no, you didn't do nothing wrong.
So did she listen? Like
she did, because my mother always sat us down and talked to us. She made sure of that. And I was going to touch on that too, because she was the one that nurtured us. I grew up in a 2-family home. But I think my father didn't really know how to handle my personality. So he sort of kind of lashed out and tried to beat it out of me.
Oh.
So I have a question. Do you ever feel like the need to like butch it? Do you ever feel like you need to butch it up, straighten it up? Like there's people around that I have to.
Let me share this with you.
Okay.
Butch it up. That comes when you really need to do it. I mean,
what does that mean? Like when you need to beat somebody?
When you have to stand up and be a man. Because number one, I am a man. I just have effeminate ways. So, but I do get my point across. I'm outspoken, as you can tell, and that comes from growing up and being around people who are outspoken. Just allowed me to be who I am.
As you should.
As you should, but we couldn't do that. We would always remain to be seen and not heard. And then when we got older, then things started presenting themselves.
I probably started speaking up way too early. But I was lucky enough to have a mom who was okay with me saying what I needed to say or whatever. But I mean, I think that, so your dad thought he was going to beat it out you.
Oh, yes. I think that came on several occasions.
So, and God, rest up. But did you come to terms with that, or did he come to terms with who you are?
Oh yes, we was on our way. I remember it so well. It was just like years before he passed. But we were on our way to Monroe, Louisiana, and we had a long stretch from Tallulah to Monroe.
Okay, Monroe.
And
That's where I was born.
We got ready to talk. We started talking in the car and everything, and he shared with me that he was proud of who I was. He said, "You've always been open. You never threw the rock and hid your hand." Is what he told me. And I said, "Well, that's all the way I knew how to be, you know." And we had a nice conversation. And after that, I felt so liberated because it was at that point that I recognized that I was a little older, 30s, 40s maybe. That we had that conversation, and he acknowledged who I was, and he really knew who I was. He's always known, but he just didn't know how to handle the person. Yeah. So we had that conversation. I came back liberated more from that conversation.
You know what's so funny is that when I came out to my grandmother, my grandparents talked about it on the way to Monroe. That's crazy.
Isn't that something?
That's what a coincidence. But I just think, sir, did you have something?
I'm listening. I'm gonna jump in if I have a question. I'm listening.
So I just think that a lot of times when we grow up in the church, we personally have expectations of ourselves, and then you go through situations where you find out who you are, and you're like, oh shit, how am I supposed to be who I am, be this person that the church and my parents and the world wants me to be, and then you have a struggle within yourself. What did that struggle look like for you?
Let's just say I'm grateful that I got clean and sober at 22, because up until 22 I was a mess, and once I accepted Christ as my personal Savior at about 22, 23, and this is no lie, I mean, I was still Billy. I was still like, because they was like, you coming here with this, that, and I wore hairstyles. I was into myself.
Why don't I remember these hairstyles? Sir, do you remember any hairstyles?
I do.
I remember.
What?
All I remember was certain earrings and tongue rings.
That's what
I remember the hairstyles.
You do?
I do.
Remember.
You was watching?
I'm always clocking.
He was at the church.
But I was right? Fun fact, I was a Sunday school teacher.
Were you?
Yeah.
Stop. Why didn't I know this?
I don't know. It's just weird. I never looked at him any different. I just knew he was peculiar. Let's just say that.
Me?
I didn't put a name on. Yeah, I didn't put anything to it.
That is your.
I've always been this.
Nah.
It's so.
Not when I first met you. No, you wasn't like this.
But like going back to like going through those struggles, because I think that because you also, when you're in this situation, in your mind, you're also thinking, well, the Bible says I'm going to go to hell. Like, the Bible says I'm not supposed to do this, and you're battling with yourself as you're processing through this whole thing. You're like, well, but I'm still attracted to this person. What the hell am I supposed to do? So
how are you reconciling your faith with your sexuality?
Oh, let me just share this. I stopped identifying.
What does that mean?
I stopped identifying my sexuality. I stopped saying that I was gay.
Why?
Because I just didn't feel the need for it anymore. And, like I said, growing up, I'm a lot older than y'all. So.
Are you? Billy.
I'm a lot older than
Billy,
y'all.
Maybe like 7 years, Billy.
52.
So, okay, you got me about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let him slide. Let him act like he knows.
Thank you, because I don't feel it. But yeah, it's just, that's always who I've been. So to come to grips with who I was, it wasn't hard for me to do that.
Yeah.
It was hard for others to accept it. And, for a long time, how you said, isolated myself from that. But I still was doing other things outside of the church stuff.
So I wonder if this is a thing, because I personally do not identify with any side. I am not gay. I'm not a lesbian. I'm not straight. I'm whatever. I wonder if that is something where we are able to utilize that to reconcile who we
Who we
are
are with your faith.
with your faith, but I've gone a
Well,
different direction from that.
Right.
But I wonder if that's a
I think
thing.
I think that it's important that you whoever you identify as is what you identify as, right? I think that a lot of times in the society that we're in now, there's like you have to have a label for what you are, so that other people, because your label isn't for you, your label is so other people can know who you are. So that when they see it, they can say, "Oh, I know Billy. He's this, this, and this." So they can put you on a list. But if they can't put you on a list, they're like, "Well, I don't understand," right? And so saying I don't identify, just I am who I am, it confuses people because they're like, "Well, then what are you?"
Well, who
I'm
are
Billy,
you? What are you?
right? And so
You just Billy.
I'm just
Right.
busy with effeminate ways, and
But do you really have feminine ways? Because that's one thing
I wanted to
that's
ask
one
you, do
thing that
you?
I talked about as well. Because I know I have very masculine energy
Mm-hmm.
at some points. I'm very feminine at some points.
Right.
I'm just who I am. It's just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't call myself a stud or a femme or whatever.
Right,
Like
right.
it's not something that I have to. I think that all men have feminine, ways.
inside entities.
Yeah. I think all
Always with she always taking shots at the post.
Well, she can do that.
Constantly.
She owns who she is.
Listen,
Right.
I just think that for me, like I love men, I love women. I date men, I date women, and then sometimes I look at the fellas and I'll be like, yeah, he got a little something in him, and it's okay.
You have that radar. I heard a
But
man
it doesn't
say-
mean the thing is it doesn't mean that they're gay.
Right.
Right.
It's just that's part of their being as well. I just
When
think
are
that
they
all
gay?
of us.
When are they gay?
What when are they? Oh, now that is my question. Like, how do you feel about men who say, "Well, I like men sexually, right? I'm sexually attracted to men, but I'm not romantically or emotionally attracted to men." So they don't feel like they don't reconcile. It's like I can have sex with a man, but in a relationship, I'd rather be with a woman.
That's totally confusing to me because I've never wanted to be with a woman. So therefore, when I hear that, my heart
Really, you
goes.
never been with a woman ever?
No.
Do they call that gold star on y'all end?
Gold star, yeah. if he hadn't come out were you vaginally delivered?
No. Yes, it was
You were born cesarean section.
vaginally delivered.
Okay, so gold star. If you was born cesarean section, you would be platinum. So you never touch no pussy.
Kind of stuff. I didn't know that when I was young. When y'all
I'm just
doing
saying.
that?
I've never heard of that.
Gold.
Sir is advanced in this, I guess.
Shenanigans.
Goodness.
I know a lot of things about a lot of things.
Well, I need to sit in your class then.
I'll be your Sunday school teacher.
Okay. I promise I'll be obedient.
Goodness gracious. So I do have some. I ain't fooling with you. I do have some other questions though. So as you process through, understanding your sexuality. First of all, understanding who you are, then going and understanding, your sexual attraction to people, and then from there, did you feel like what? Because we hear a lot of people on the down low, right? Did you feel like, although you may have just been authentically yourself, did you feel like you had to date men who were on the down low because they weren't authentically themselves?
No.
How did that go for you?
We talked about this, I think, in the last
Did
time. It was, on the spectrum of who I dated, or who I preferred to date, or who I preferred to be with. And I used to be very vicious to the down low men. But then I realized that, hey, it took something for you to realize who you were. And they just sometimes don't get it. They just don't realize or want to recognize that part of them wanting to be involved with another man. They'll say, oh, you're sexually attracted. Yeah, I get that. But what about your feelings?
Right.
Man, sometimes men just don't have feelings like that.
Interesting.
Well, but I think that's what I'm asking. Like, how there are men who are like, well, I like sleeping with men. I just don't want to be laying up, holding. I don't want to be in a relationship. and I want it to only be sexual. And so, I mean, it's a thing. They're, you know what I mean? And so when they're looking for emotional connection, they're looking for that from a woman. They want that to be from a woman, and they also want sex from the woman as well. But like, so the fullness of a relationship where you're dealing with emotional and spiritual connections and things like that, they want that with a woman, but they also want to have sex with men. And so there are men, and they don't identify as gay, identify as straight.
They don't even want to be emotional around women. So it's like, what is the deal? What's the situation here? But it's an ongoing process.
Mm-hmm.
I myself, like I said, about 4 or 5 years ago, stopped identifying and stopped, bashing the men who were on the down low, or bashing men who want to be gay or whatever, or come out either or. I just stopped that. I mean, I literally
just let it just go and be.
It is what it is.
I think my only concern with any man that I guess we consider down low would be those who are with women in full marriages, monogamous marriages, and having sex with men unprotected. I'm not with the shit. Because I think it gets dangerous with whomever, even if it's another woman, it doesn't matter. It gets dangerous either way, But I just feel like when you're on the down low, I think that you should, like your wife should have a choice.
She should, and she will never have that choice because she'll never know because he's too afraid to show that side to her. Now, I know some people who are in relationships with the man, with the woman, and they know nothing about the other person who's being a male. They know nothing. And
the thing is that at this point in our lives, I feel like those conversations can be had. Like if I'm dating a guy, like first of all, that's like one of the first questions we got. Like, so do you date men or have you had sex with men before? Yeah. Like I need to have that conversation. Let's get that out the way.
Why do you think that should be coming up out of his mouth, or do you have to ask that question?
I think that either way it should happen because they're probably going to ask me, so do you like girls too, right? And then that way we can have the conversation together, right?
So you think that's something you should be asking at the beginning, like when y'all on the first, second, third date?
Because now I need to make a decision. Is this the guy that I'm okay with having a boyfriend too? Like I have to like process it through myself, and that might be that's definitely a double standard. But
100%.
But I think depending on, for me, even in my head, like depending on who it is, who the guy is, I'm trying to see if I'm going to be able to process you having a boyfriend too.
You having a boyfriend too. So do you think that is a fair a fair shake? Because there are some men who feel that you say what?
That's what it is.
Right, there are some men who feel like they can't even be honest with these women.
No, they can be honest.
Well, no, let me finish. They feel like they cannot be honest with the woman about what they want sexually, or what their sexual history is, because they're going to be judged, they're going to be shunned, they're going to be turned away, and they really are attracted to women. They really do want to have this relationship, but she looks at this man now and says, "Okay, well, he's not what I need, or he's not what I want." And that fear of rejection is preventing him from doing that. And so now that I'm justifying not being honest, I'm not justifying not being honest, but there's a huge barrier for truth, because there's this judgment that women will have if you say, "Hey, I've sucked a dick in my life." That's what it is. And she's like, "Oh, we both can't be sucking dick."
I think that can go any way. I think that it doesn't matter what. It could be anything. Like, okay, I dated a guy before. He was 400 pounds before, but now he's super fit. Okay, so now I'm like, okay, well, wasn't happy with our kids. If we have kids, I'm processing through the whole thing. It's not just specifically about that. Those are conversations that they should be able to have, and then to allow the woman to make a decision.
Absolutely.
That doesn't. She's okay to make a decision. He's okay to make a decision.
Yeah.
If I don't want to date someone who likes sucking dick. I'm just not gonna date someone who likes sucking dick.
I feel
However,
you.
for me personally, would I date someone who have sucked a couple of dicks before?
Hmm.
Probably.
Right.
Would I date a top? Probably. Would I date a bottom?
That's my. Do you feel like there's bottom? I feel like there.
Did I bottom
Billy?
shame or
Do you feel like there's bottom shaming? Because I feel like she just bottom shamed there.
No, because I think that's her choice.
What, top or
exactly
bottom?
what it is.
Yeah, that's
her
what
choice.
it's my choice.
Because
That's
you
just
have-
like you may be attracted to chocolatey women than
I love dark skinned
But
women.
what turns me off is a top who a top looks like a top, who then gets in the bedroom and
And
bottoms.
they-
It just turns me completely off.
see, and that's where I'm at with it. That's
Mhm.
see.
But see, okay. So here.
I think we
Okay,
have the
so
same attraction.
I have
Hold on, sir. Because in my head,
Mhm.
I'm like, I want you to be this masculine dude. Like, I want the masculine
Okay.
part of you. So when
Uh-huh.
you bottom, I'm thinking,
Dude,
you
you
a
can't be serious right now, right?
right. So like, if it's a dude, like I've
Mhm.
had men ask me to peg them.
Peg them, right?
I'm
That's
not dating
interesting.
you after this.
You just gonna peg him and leave.
That's it. I'm not dating a bottom. I want a masculine being. Like in my
So
head,
are
I'm
you
like,
saying that being a bottom is not masculine?
in my head?
And so,
Yes.
your masculine identity is determined by
That's
how
my
you
head.
enjoy
That's my
sex.
opinion. That's my opinion.
I want to make sure I'm understanding your opinion.
I'm telling you what it is. In my head,
As she sees it.
right. In my head, I'm like the masculine being would be the top, or someone who's gonna take charge.
Who's doing the fucking?
If I'm giving it to you, if I'm
Mhm.
a submissive person,
Mhm.
I can't be submissive to you if you a bottom.
You never know.
Y'all the scissor?
You never know. Oh my.
No, women, nobody scissors.
Y'all can get a double-sided dong and just.
Nobody double sides it. Nobody scissors.
Just say y'all can just.
I don't know what they do in their bedroom. I know what I do in mine. But that's the whole thing. I love a mystery. I love a mystery.
And shout out to Mr. Collins. He said, "Why not?" And I just think it's psychological because because I date men and women, right? And so in my head, I like very feminine women. And
So
I
you
like
so you a top?
masculine- No, I'm not. I'm submissive. Both sides.
Okay. So you're a bottom on both sides.
But usually, women, feminine women, like super feminine women, are usually the aggressor. And with men, I like really buff, masculine beings. I
Right.
like them to be a man.
You want an aggressive top.
So I want,
Understood. Okay.
She want to be 24/7 a man, which
But I can stick my finger in his. No, I just can't peg him. I don't think. I don't know. I haven't gone to that situation.
You haven't been in a relationship where he was like, okay, I need you to peg me. It's my birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that is when you become your freedom of expression. That's freedom of expression in the bedroom.
Yeah, and I'm free, but I'm probably gonna be like.
You're
gonna be side eyeing.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a tough world out there. It really is, because it is what it is. I just like a freaky person.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna broaden my horizons, but I don't know what I would say if these buffo dudes come to me and be like,
because there are bottoms who are not traditionally looking like bottoms, right?
Correct.
They are hyper masculine. They are, very mass presenting. But in the bedroom, they're like, look, bend me over, lift me up, flip me around, and bang this thing out. Okay.
They are out there.
And so, the sex don't happen if the bottom don't show up. Like, it's just
if you're a selfish top, it happens.
You know what I'm saying? If you're a selfish top, it happens. But if the bottom doesn't show up to the room, doesn't show up to the party, just a bunch of tops looking at each other.
Goes both ways.
Goodness
If the top don't show up, the bottom just
It's just sitting there looking. You know what I'm saying? So you need to be.
So that brings us to like all of these labels and these. Everything has a label. Everything has to be. You're supposed to be this person, and you only do this.
Right.
And Mr. Collins said, "I need y'all to get off the bottoms." Okay. So we have to ask no more questions about
Hands
that.
up.
So
That just took me out. I'm sorry.
But it's the trade, even the trade bottoms.
Can y'all tell me what trade is? Is that like is that the download thing too?
That's the trade. Is just the trade is the guy on the basketball court who got it going on, and he walks, so walk by, gay guys, and that's the trade right there.
What does a trade mean though?
Trade is a man who's presenting masculine, who has a very masculine presenting persona, right? And he may still sleep with women, but he fucking the kids for
the kids.
Trade, not the kids, but he's
not the kids. He's giving it to the girls. Okay, he's giving it to the children. And a lot of times they're giving it to the kids for dollars. They're trading clothes.
$20 is $20.
$20 is $20. So it's just a term for somebody who's trading sex for something, and he's a mass presenting guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Collins said that masculine man that bottoms. That's what that is.
Come on, Mr. Collins.
Because I've been hearing the trade thing.
Trade is like a basketball player, football player.
Yeah.
Got it going on. That will go down, get down with you.
In whatever way.
In whatever way. Yeah.
In whatever way, and a lot of times he's getting paid for that. He's trading the time he's giving for something.
For a gift in exchange.
Yeah. And in exchange, ain't robbery.
Okay.
So in the blunt.
Goodness.
Listen.
Okay.
Do you experience and I know this is a pivot, but do you experience racism in the gay community? And if you, because I've talked to some black gays here in Houston, and like the white gays are racist as fuck, right? And so they icing the black gays out. They're not coming to the balls. They're not inviting them to anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever experienced any racism from other gay or queer people?
No, because I'm well rounded. I'm in there with all of them. Politicians to the janitor.
Come on, politicians.
My pearls, child.
Not politicians.
I didn't say the other P word. From politicians to the janitor, it is what it is, and I've learned to get on the spectrum wherever they are. Meet them where they are. That's one thing I've learned. I don't so much shit because I used to be judgmental, and I'm still judgmental.
I'm low key. I feel like
you say low key.
First of all, mind your business, sir. No, but I feel like I am low key homophobic sometimes.
Oh.
I feel like sometimes, and I'm like, okay, where does this stem?
Do you think we raised like that?
Yes, I think that definitely comes from being raised a certain way. I remember telling my grandmother, that I had a girlfriend, and her first response was, "So are you gonna start wearing pants?" I was like, huh? I'm like, no, I'm gonna wear whatever I normally wear, grandmother.
They want to know.
You're gonna start wearing Birkenstocks and Doc Martens.
Because in her head, that's how you identify a lesbian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that
she had a lot of keys.
So she was like, "Is this how this is gonna go? Is this what I should expect now?" And shout out to my grandmother for being just so open to the dialogue.
Super dope.
Because I know she was like, "Lord, what we gonna do with this girl here?" And shout out to my grandfather. I'm telling you, my grandfather. Listen, because they believe in the Bible and all that, he's like, "Listen, I got to talk to you about this, but I'm never going to talk to you about it again. I don't care if you bring your girlfriend to the house, whatever.
Like it's 100.
It's whatever it is,
He was 100.
So I just think that having people around you, the way we were raised up too, being a class act. Like I was always, it's being classy. So in my head, I'm like, okay, yeah, I just keep.
Who do we see being classy?
I mean, I think we saw everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So
how we grew up with it was class or nothing.
Yeah.
And I believe that's, like I said, men didn't know how to handle my personality, so I was shuffled into the women's section, by cooking in the with the church, with mothers and stuff like that. Just being around them, gathering and nurturing from there, from that point of view. You know, my father, he didn't even, he wouldn't allow me under the car with him when he was, mechanic stuff.
Right. But you think that was just because he didn't think that that's something that you'd like, or what? Did you give him the impression you wouldn't have liked it?
I just walked around the car and looked at him.
So did you want to fix the car with
I
him?
would have loved to if he would have invited me under there, and it wasn't,
Yeah, I think that like even now, like I think people are still experiencing that now. They're coming out to their families, and like maybe their dad doesn't think that they want to do the boy stuff, right? So I think that having that conversation, because sometimes your parents they do not know how to engage in that conversation. So I think that those people who are in that situation now, don't be afraid to say, hey, Dad, by the way, I do like playing football, or I'm okay with changing the oil.
I played football and everything.
Yeah, so I don't know.
It's something else, and I just hate to say that. Growing up as a black homosexual, I'm gonna say that this time. I always felt liberated. I cannot say it enough. From people getting in my face, birds of a feather flock together. Well, I guess I'm a flock. And, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, I guess I'm a duck. Something like that. I would not back down and say, what are you talking about? I wouldn't be submissive like that. I always had a mouth. So that's one thing my dad was like, I'm going to have to pipe you down a little bit. But I have learned over the years that if we give compassion comes back to you.
How many siblings do you have?
It was 6 of us.
It was 6 of you. How many of you are homosexual?
2.
How many of the part of the alphabet community?
Oh, the pronoun community. 2 of us.
Okay.
And listen, it was only me at first. And
it ain't never been only
years
you.
Later, I would say years later, my aunt, my very dear aunt, who was, she took care of all of us. She came out, and it was like, huh? She came out to me first. She wore pants, ballroom gown, dresses. She wore it all. Always the short hairstyle. She was that auntie. And so she came out. Nidra, oh Lord, my sister, she came out. So it was. I think I set the stage for quite a few of my family.
Of just being open and being okay with being who you are.
Yes,
yeah,
there's plenty of us now. I know me and my sister for 2.
Yeah, I just think that it's just like that's one thing that I always, I was thankful to have that conversation with my grandmother so early because it allowed me to just be free. I was like, okay, obviously I still had to, figure out how to navigate this, but it just allowed me to be more open and have real conversations and things like that. So I just think that when you see other people just being authentically themselves, it allows you to be that way too. And I don't know, sir, you got anything?
Have you ever considered not being gay? Like, have you ever considered like conversion therapy, or have you ever thought, I need to put this down and not do this?
And I'm just gonna let y'all know we got like 30 seconds. We are way over time.
Okay. So these conversations we need to have like at the hookah lounge or something like that. So yeah, okay, no, I prayed about that a long time ago. Thought I would be delivered from it. Like I said, it's just no longer me being labeled. I am who I am.
Well, listen, Billy, thank you for coming out and hanging out with us. This went by so fast.
Can you believe it?
Yes, but we'll definitely have to have you back again. Sir, where can people find you on social media?
They can find me on IG at the Sir Armstrong and on Facebook as Sir Armstrong. Definitely follow me, send nudes, wave, say hi.
Say nudes?
Well, you can follow me on every single social media platform at E.Carrice. That's ECARRICE. Thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget to share, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye, y'all.
See you next Tuesday. No, you didn't call me that.